You're listening to Under the Shell Podcast, the best in America.
Welcome to Under the Shell, presented by Testudo Times. I'm Brendan YSL.
Sam Jade.
And I'm Michael Howes, and today we got an exclusive, never-heard-before interview with Selton Miguel here on Under the Shell. Selton, boys, take it away.
Well, this week we're pleased to welcome one of the newest members of Maryland basketball's team. We got Selton Miguel on, former basketball player for Kansas State and USF. One of the better buckets in the conference last year, averaging around 15 points a game, and committed to Kevin Willard's squad to hopefully give the Terps some boost. Selton, thanks for hopping on, man.
No, I appreciate you guys for having me on, man, for sure.
So we got to start with the first question here. So talk to me a little bit about, you've played in some interesting places. How do you think you're going to fit in the state of Maryland as a whole? Not the basketball side, but you've been to some dope places: Angola, Portugal, Kansas. I don't know if I call Kansas cool, but and then Florida too. Where do you think Maryland's going to rank in that aspect?
I think between Florida, Kansas, now Maryland, I feel like Maryland definitely going to be probably a top two because nobody can beat Florida. You feel me? Florida is really the place. But I feel like Washington, Baltimore, it's a good place, you know what I mean? I like it. I was there in a visit. I really like it. It's not different than Florida. The weather gets crazy, of course, later on. But now it was chill when I was there, so I really like it. Yeah, and then it's been good though. Like I think I'm a fit in pretty good.
So you took a visit. What did Coach Willard what did you see on your visit? Did you go to DC? Like what was kind of the tour like?
It was just basically campus, you know what I mean? College Park. Where they live, facilities, the school, places around campus where they eat. That's about it. Like basically, yeah.
Any restaurants you're getting ready to try? What's Selton? What do you like?
I actually tried these restaurants close to campus that Coach Kevin didn't even know. We went to like a barbecue place.
Okay.
Yeah, it was gas.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was it about Maryland that kind of sold you to commit here? Was there something on the visit that kind of impressed you, something Coach Willard said? What kind of moved you to come to Maryland?
Like Coach Kevin Stink is a coach that just got a job here. He's from Baltimore. He was the coach at UCF, but now he's the assistant head coach in Maryland. So I really had a great relationship with him even before I even went to Kansas State. So like my relationship with him come from like high school, and like just me playing USF and playing against UCF while he was there. I bust their ass, so like the respect was different. And then as soon as he got a job, he was the first person he called. He was like, "Yo, we gotta get this done." You know what I mean? And then I was looking for a new home too, in a bigger stage. So I just feel like Coach Kevin Stink was one of the biggest influence me. But at the same time, Coach Kevin Wheeler, I like how he let the guards play, the freedom they had. Coach Kevin Wheeler, when he was recruiting me at a port, he was really like looking for somebody that can create his own shot and can come in and really like score the ball. So how much I love score the ball, how much I love to shoot. So like I see what he do with Jamil Young and Miles Powell and guards like that. They can create his own shot. So like I was just like, man, why not? You know what I mean? Especially in the Big Ten, a bigger stage, and especially Maryland basketball school. Like why not? Like what I mean? They had a bad year last year. It's good. Like East College basketball, I have good years every year. But like I feel like coming in with the class we coming in this year, a couple transfers. And we got a good front court. So, like, that's just going to help us and have so much space for us guards to create. And, so having a decision like that and seeing what the coaches want from the guards and what freedom they have, I just felt like Maryland was the best fit for me.
You brought up the transfers. Obviously, other guards, Jacoby Gillespie, Rodney Rice. Have you talked to them at all so far? And how do you think that you guys are going to mesh well on the team?
I talked to Rodney. I ain't talked to Gillespie yet. But just watch them how they play where they come from. Gillespie is a good point guard. He can really shoot. Like I think coach losing a point guard. I think Gillespie coming in to like replace him. Rodney coming from Virginia Tech, can shoot, athletic, 6'4", 6'5" guard. He's from the area. And, just seeing guys like that, and you need guys like that to be on our team. Like, you need guys that, can create, can create for themselves, can play with the system. Two-way guards that can, like, push the ball and just, like, just create offenses just like Coach Kevin wanted to play fast. And, his guard dominance, to be honest. His system, his guys got the ball in their hands. So, like, having guys like that with experience already, they already play college basketball and coming to their conference, just having everybody older, I just feel like it's a great fit.
So you said you have Kevin Norris, you have Kevin Willard, and then I'm sure there's another player that helped factor into your decision, your cousin Bruno Fernando. How impactful was he in getting you to come to Maryland, and how much attention did you really pay to Maryland basketball before, the past couple months?
Oh yeah, I knew about Maryland even before I went to Kansas State. I really wanted to go to Maryland and live in high school, but at the same time I already was going to Kansas State since I was committed to Kansas State since I was like sophomore in high school. You know what I mean? So like I seen Bruno going there and then things like that. So I was like, damn, like it's my guy going to good school. But at the same time, yeah, Bruno definitely was one of the big influences too. Like just trying to come to Maryland, being the second Angolan player in Maryland and trying to keep his legacy going. You know what I mean? The thing he left doing great things. So there's my point too, is going there and do great things individually and collective. You know what I mean? But just trying to be there to continue his legacy and then trying to be the best Angola I can be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then when you left USF, you did something that's become pretty common where you entered your name into the NBA draft. What kind of went into the decision to doing that and then, ending up taking it out and going to Maryland?
At the same time, I'm still in the process. I'm still in the pre-draft process. I was leaving, regardless if I was just going straight to the, doing the whole thing, the whole NBA thing. I was still having one more year. So at the same time, I didn't want to waste it. I want to find a new home, just in case I get feedbacks and I have to go to school. Just find a new home and play in the bigger stage. I'm still going through draft process. Like I'm still here working out. I'm graduating Friday, and then I'm going to Maryland, get my things going on, and then I'll be in North Carolina doing my draft process. So, I mean, I knew I was coming back to college regardless. But at the same time, I wanted to do the experience because I had good feedback from a couple teams during the season I had. So I just want to see, what it is, test the waters, and see what it's like. You know what I mean? Because at the same time, why not taste it when you got an opportunity to do it? Especially when I got good feedback these years. So like I just want to like, okay, let's go. Let's see what it's like, and then and see what happens. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wanted to like make sure Coach Kevin don't have to worry about nobody else. In case I come back, I would definitely come to Maryland, and they didn't have to worry about me not coming. That's why I went to the visit to let him know like I was coming. I knew before that, but just went to like really talk to him face to face, so you don't have to worry about me not coming. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about kind of a thing I'm sure NBA scouts are paying attention to is your shooting. Your first 3 years of college, you kind of hovered around 30%, so not necessarily the most efficient. And then last year, you took a huge jump. I mean, became one of the best shooters in your conference. Was there anything you changed between your senior offseason? Like, what do you think kind of sparked the growth in shooting?
Okay, so I'll give you a breakdown. I'll say like Kansas State, first 3 years, I was just trying to do everything I could to really be on the floor. So like I wasn't really excuse my language. I really did not care about.
It's okay. We're pro swearing on this podcast.
So like I did not really care about like really working on my shooting. Like I was just trying to like be that athletic guard that plays defense, trying to be on the court. You know what I mean? Like I knew what my role was at Kansas State. So that's why I really didn't care about as much. You know what I mean? Like I knew I wasn't shooting as much. I knew like I'm gonna shoot sometimes, but whenever I got the ball, I'm trying to get to the rack and get a foul so I can stay on the floor. But like transferring to USF, like coming to a lower conference, but the same, it was still like a good conference because you still got teams like Memphis, Houston, and things like that. So like I knew I'm gonna play against great competition still, like people that go to NBA, things like that. So like the first team, as soon as I got to USF, my coach told me, "It's like that shooting gotta improve somehow. Like you gotta do something to improve. I don't know what it's gonna be, but we're gonna be in a gym working out. Cause I'm already going to the basket. I already can I already could like shoot me range, go to the basket, things like that. But like the 3-point was really like broke. It was broke. Can be honest with you. So like my first year, I think I shot like 20 or like 19%. Second year, Kansas State, I shot like 22. And then coming to USF last year, junior, I shot 34. So like I feel like the only thing different was like more freedom. For me, it was more freedom and like it's just confidence. Uh Definitely put more work in for sure. Like I was definitely like in the gym before practice, after practice, put like 300 shots before practice and after practice. Even this past year was really like that's when I was like, yeah, I have to like even put more shots up. So yeah, I feel like the difference was really like just be more confident and really put more shots up than I was because I knew like this past year USF my role would increase to be a two-way player, not just like just playing my role. So like I would shoot the ball more. So like I would definitely have to be more efficient, and that's what that was what really it though. Just putting more shots up and really stay in the gym a lot more.
Kind of talking about roles a little bit. What's the type of role that you kind of envision yourself playing for the Terps next year? Are you a guy who's going to be in the starting lineup? Are you going to stay as the sixth man? Kind of where do you see yourself?
Or not? Okay, I'll say it right here. Like I was a six man this year because like I had an agreement with my coach about being a six man. So like as being one of the captains, so other people could follow. Doesn't mean I liked it. Okay, like we just gonna put this out there. Like some people think I liked it. No, I like it. I mean, of course I did it for the team for the better because we won the championship. But at the same time, it's me and the coach agreement. But coming to Maryland, not to be a six man for sure, not coming to because like I improved every year. I improved every year. Come from average 7 points to coming average 15 points. So every year my stats went up from shooting 20 to like shooting almost 40%. And then I think during the season, even after we played Memphis, I was shooting like 47%. So I was like top 5 in the country. So like people can see my improvement. It's not just me talking. Talking to Coach Kevin, he's just looking for somebody that can come in and really produce right away. He see that in me, he see that killer in me. That's my goal. Coming there, of course, start. But at the same time, if I don't, like, I'm not here to I feel like we got good guards. Whoever starts is gonna be the best for the team. You know what I mean? But like Coach Kevin recruited me to come and start and really like play right away and trying to be that guy that can score without the system, but at the same time can make plays for each other. You know what I mean? For other guys, we got like guys like Derek and Juju on the post. Like they're gonna draw a lot of attention. So like you're gonna give the guard so open like to create or just take the three. So playing those guys and play with a guy like me, um, I mean I don't know. Like I feel like it's gonna be a great year for Maryland. That's all I can say.
Talk to me a little bit. Now this is kind of funny, so I got to get your perspective. After you committed, John Rothstein put out a tweet about, you committed to Maryland or whatever, and apparently there's a group project or something like that. Take me through what happened with that, because that was one of the funniest shit I've ever seen, bro. That thread, I was crying.
But I committed, right? I committed, and we had this project to do the next day. So I think the guy, my classmate, because he was literally doing the project, and then I didn't like send it the project because I was supposed to send it like around 7, but like I already had the project, and then I think after I committed, I didn't send the project. He thought I left. So like he texted me even before he tweeted, like he texted me, but like I was doing the interview, so like I couldn't text him back. So he really thought like, oh, this man didn't
He's
text me
just
back.
ghosted.
So like he just left. Next thing you know, I text him after the interviews. They say, oh, I just sent the thing, but like after that, someone tweeted that tweeted, this man just left, so we're not gonna do the project. So I was dying laughing too. I was like, no way, this man think I just left, bro. But nah, the great thing is, I saw that. I mean, I took that as a joke. I didn't really take it like,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah. The next day we did the project, and then we both got 100 and things like that. And then
Hey,
yeah,
shout out.
yeah. And then after that, he put on Twitter that he was just joking, and then we both got 100 in the project. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's good right there.
it was just funny.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. I mean, people don't necessarily realize, even though you're going somewhere next year, you're obviously still gonna, you're graduating and you're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
finish your
how I'm
academic responsibilities.
Yeah, fact.
Right on. I want to kind of move the timeline way back to when you were a kid and kind of tell us about when you started playing basketball and kind of, from Angola, moved to Portugal. Take us through your journey for how you arrived at playing basketball in college.
Okay, so I started playing basketball when I was 8 years old. Back home, like when I say back home is Angola, but I was born and raised. My dad's from Portugal, so half of his family lives in Portugal. So I stopped playing. Before that, I was playing soccer because everybody plays soccer back home. So I was playing, and then I stopped playing basketball when I was 8. But then I really took basketball serious when I moved to Portugal when I was 10, and I played from like 10 to like 14. That's when I really like took serious because I say I don't want to play soccer no more. I was getting taller because when I was 8, I was like 5'5". Then I was 10, 11, I was like 6'1". I'm on 6'2". So that's when I was like, yeah, I gotta stick with that. And then moved to Portugal. I went to a military school in Portugal while I was playing basketball. So like playing there and things like that, it was just like I used to live in school, so like I used to have the night times to go practice, like to go practice basketball, and then come right back to school. So like I was living in school, go and play, and come right back. So like I didn't have anything else to do but school and basketball. Yeah. So like I played there for 4 years in a club called Benfica. It's one of the biggest clubs in Portugal, even for soccer too. But then I got a scholarship. They saw me play here, the school here, College West Oaks Academy, where I came to high school here in Orlando. They saw me play. My older brother was already here, and they liked it. After that, they offered me a scholarship to come here as a freshman. Next thing you know, I got everything situated. Came here as a freshman. I was 14, 15. Yeah, I don't really remember no more. But yeah, came here as a freshman. The first thing was like the language. I came here without speaking no English. So I had to pick that shit up quick as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, came here in the summer. The good thing was that I came here in the summer, so I still had like them 3 months before high school started. So I could have learned like a little bit of, pick it up a little bit. So I got to high school. Yeah, got to high school after the AAU thing. My freshman year, I think I had a solid freshman year. Didn't really play a lot because I was getting used to it. I was playing both JV and varsity. And then 10th grade year, that's when I really like make the jump. Stop. I played for a Nike Each One Teach One, a WRBL team, and then I changed to Under Armour team, team breakdown. After that, I was playing 17U as a sophomore. So like after that, I was just getting recruited, start getting offers. Sophomore year, that's when I really my recruiter started really jumping. And then come junior year, I got ranked, and then from there it was just history. Got to my senior year, I think I was average like 25. We beat Oak Hill. We broke the school history at Oak Hill Academy. Yeah, it was the first team beat Oak Hill at home since 19. I don't even know. But yeah, got the state championship. I played my state championship, my semifinal state championship with my broken hand, so I couldn't play my state championship basically. So like I broke my hand during the game, the semifinals, and the next day I came, and then everybody didn't expect I wasn't playing because I came with a brace because I had broken my hand the day before, like a couple months before I went to Kansas State, and then next thing you know, yeah, we lost state championship, but I had a great high school career. I got my high school jersey retired at West Oaks Academy. Yeah, and today I'm here. Went to Kansas State, USF, and now about to be a Terp.
Do you, you clearly care about your country, Angola. I saw that you've kind of helped do some basketball camps over there, and helping out with donations and stuff. What's that process like, and how cool is that for you to kind of be able to go back to your home country and be, a player that people look up to, and someone who can kind of facilitate the growth of basketball in Angola?
It's just like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just it's I feel like it's bigger. It's bigger. It's being always bigger than me. You know what I mean? I put it like that because like not too many people had opportunity to come to the states and even playing D1 basketball for my country. It's only was like I feel like 6 or 7, and now it's only like two, me and somebody else. So Bruno did it at the highest level. I don't know if you guys know Silver de Souza was at Kansas. He did it too. So like Bruno and Silva was basically the first two guys coming in. He opened doors for everybody else. You know what I mean? So and then I came, and then people was following me from high school to college. What I did, and then I became even I am not even pro yet, but like I became like you can say a celebrity back home, but like not because of the celebrity standpoint, but like of the things I did and how far I came, and from the struggle I came to like what I am now today. So like when I go back home, people ask me like was that was easy? Like how hard it was? Like it was hard. It was hard. You know what I mean? It's just but at the same time it's good. Like I feel a great accomplishment. You know what I mean? Go back home and like people see me as a as influence. You know what I mean? Just like somebody that can impact others to like not just basketball, but like to just being there and talk to kids. There was one day I was one of those kids talking to somebody else. You know what I mean? So like it's good that I can come back and give advice, talk about my story, and they can look up to me as a living proof, not just somebody that did it and not alive anymore. Like I'm doing it and I'm still alive. So like I'm just it's good to me because I can go back and then because I know one day I was those kids and today after the hard work I put in, I can give back to them. You know what I mean? Like so it feels pretty good when I'm back home because the love back home is different. Like they just everybody just there happy for us here in the States, like, doing what we do, doing what we love to do. So it's pretty good to go back home and just give it back and be able to like be one of those guys that people look up to.
Gotcha. Real quick, are you allowed? I don't know like what the process is. Are you able to make NIL money because of not being like born in America? Like, because I know there's the whole international rule or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's ways to do that. Most of the people here, like international kids, that they go back home to do that because like I feel like you're not supposed to get like money in the states in the territory, but like you can still go home, get the money there, and then come back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We're actually I am and Brendan are actually going to Africa this summer to cover we're looking at the NBA Academy, which is in
Oh,
Senegal.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
yeah,
going
yeah.
to
That's good,
Senegal
man.
and Rwanda. So I gotta ask, what is the best countries for hoop in Africa? And anything that you think, any players that stand out to you that kind of you think the national pride? I know there's the BAL too, which is the
Yeah,
African
new
League
league.
there.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say Angola because Angola got the most titles of like the African championships. But now with the youth, I'll say Nigeria and like Senegal, they're pretty close because most of the kids coming from Nigeria and Senegal now coming to the States and they really good prospects. So like they got a lot of talent. Especially you're gonna see y'all going to NBA Academy, y'all gonna see most of the kids are from those countries and then they really coming good, you know what I mean? So the good thing about those countries, they give you opportunity to those kids in their countries to like elevate and like, like just like get better. You know what I mean? Like my country still gotta like do a better job on that on the youth. You know what I mean? We're not as big as the youth as those two countries.
I still find it crazy. I go and like look at like I was looking before best African players of all time, and Steve Nash's name pops up on the list, and every time it like it stuns me. He's from like
What?
I think he's from Johannesburg, and but then he moved to Canada, so it's just always like
Yeah, I didn't
Hakeem.
even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Hakeem, like
Yeah,
Joel, all those guys, and then there's Steve Nash,
Yeah.
small
That's
white
perfect.
point guard. It's funny.
I assume in the future, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but you'd want to represent Angola if you're playing for them in the future. Is that something you had on your mind? I know Bruno did it too.
Oh yeah, I definitely probably gonna get invited to this summer to go play for the national team, even before start with the Turks. Probably gonna have because Angola isn't for the Olympics for the qualifiers. So like we gotta play 2 games to get qualified to the Olympics. So like getting invited. So it just depends on Coach Kevin if he's gonna let me go or not. But I talked to him about it, and then we just gotta keep talking about it. But like he's cool with it with the decision, I guess. Yeah.
All right, Selton, we got one more question for you. It's actually multiple ones, but it's we do like a rapid fire round. So I'm just going to hit you with a bunch of questions right in a row. These are on basketball, off basketball. So just kind of we'll move through these quickly to wrap it up. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is the most important interview you ever done. So this is a big segment.
Gotcha.
So first, tell me, question I asked earlier, coolest place you've traveled to or hooped in?
Portugal.
NBA like model that you model your game after.
Say James Harden, but with the variety.
Okay. Celebrity crush.
I'm gonna give me a trouble with my girl. I'll say Zendaya.
Okay. Hey, one in the same. What's what's the thing that you're most looking forward to about Maryland?
Just like to embrace the fans. Like I really want to embrace the fans. Yeah.
Thing you're most nervous about?
Ooh, good one. Probably into the first game. Just anxious.
So what's the coolest arena you've played in? And then which arena do you like? If you pay attention to college hoops, is there any in the Big Ten that you're looking forward to? And you can't say Maryland.
Indiana.
Okay, nice. That's a good one. What's the teammate that you're most looking forward to playing with?
I'll say all of them, but like most of I'll say Juju because he already played. You know what I mean? He already be in the league, so like I'm really excited because I already got experience to it. So like that pick and roll, me and him, probably gonna be something nasty. Yeah.
What's your favorite? What's your shoe model? Like which shoe are you wearing? I know you said you played Under Armour in high school, but you've been to all the shoe circuits:
Yeah.
Adidas, Nike, and now Under Armour again.
I'll say like the Currys.
Okay, but if you had to choose one shoe, no brand ties, nothing, what are you choosing?
Like to walk around the hoop.
Just walk around.
No brand. I'll say New Balance.
What's your favorite post practice snack? Like you're getting something to eat.
First, I'll say like peanut butter sandwich with a mango smoothie.
Okay. Are you a going out or stay in type of guy? You've been to Florida, you got that area down.
Yeah, but I'm a stay in guy. I think I did that early in my college career. Now
you're an old guy.
Yeah, nah.
And then last one for you, if you could so Maryland, I don't know if you know this, but Maryland has in its store, it has an ice cream store that all the coaches can make their own ice cream flavor. So they put a bunch of stuff in, and that's their flavor. What would you do if you got a Selton ice cream flavor?
So I would have cookies and cream. I have vanilla, and I would have cheesecake.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you give half the College Park residents diabetes, but it sounds good, so I'm rocking with
you said to choose one.
Well, thanks, Selton. We really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate y'all.
Thanks again for hopping on so much. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good
Awesome interview. Selton, guys, that was one of my favorite guests. He was super charismatic. I feel like most of the international kids I talk to are pretty awesome, and we've had some on this show, and Selton was one of the best. So awesome to hear from Maryland basketball's newest addition. And, basketball season, guys, by the time we record, one of these in the near future, I guess, it'll be right around the corner. So I guess it's a somewhat timely episode, but more timely is talking about spring sports and the men's lacrosse team. Guys, they had a week off, and they came back, and they're going to be playing Penn State, who beat Rutgers in the Big Ten quarterfinals. That game will be played on Thursday, so that'll be an interesting game. Obviously, we know about the last game when our boy Audrey was in Penn State performing at a concert at the same time as the Maryland Penn State lacrosse game. So Drake, I don't know which one was the bigger attraction, but Maryland came back and won that game. If you guys don't remember, a crazy offensive second half. So Brendan, Mike, what are you looking forward to kind of for this game? Because I think this will be a super interesting one for the Terps.
Talked about it a ton last episode. It's really all about how the offense is going to look. Mentioned it. The Johns Hopkins game, Maryland's offense really did not look good at all. Only had 5 goals, but early in the year against Penn State, that was a game where they had a lot of offense and a lot going for them on that side of the ball. And so if they can do that, they can probably set them up for a run like we talked about. You asked me last week, Sam, what do I want to see? I think it's all about the offense. You mentioned, Penn State had to beat Rutgers. We're in the semifinals now. If Maryland wins, I guess the winner of the Maryland-Penn State game will play the winner of the Johns Hopkins-Michigan game. Maryland lost to both those teams this year. Michigan played one of their best games against Maryland like they have in the past couple of years. But no matter what, that Sunday championship game, no matter who's in it, it's kind of going to be much-watched TV for the lacrosse world.
Yeah, I think that the Big Ten, pretty much every year has the lacrosse, the nation's lacrosse eyes, but especially this year. I think Johns Hopkins, they haven't won a natty in a decent amount of time, right, Brendan? I think the last one for them was after or before Maryland. Let me quick check so I make sure I'm not talking out. They've won 40 in the last one, or 44, and the last one was in 2007. So I wasn't wrong. But I think they're prime for a national title run. I think Michigan's really good. Maryland is obviously in that group. So really excited to kind of see where they end up and what that looks like for the NCAA tournament. I would think this team probably gets to the Final 8, I would say. I don't know if they're a Final 4 caliber team, but that's what I would say right now as we stand. But at least they have a chance to compete and maybe win the Big Ten tournament, which we can no longer say about the women's team. Kind of a shocking loss, 9-8 against Rutgers at home. Just disappointing loss. I think kind of pittered out the end of the season a little bit. But just kind of a tough game to blow in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'll get to the game in a second, but if I had told you guys at the beginning of the year that Maryland had never lost a Big Ten game at home under Kathy Reese, and they lost 3 of them this year, you guys would have told me on this podcast, you would have looked me in the eyes and you would have said, Brendan, you're going crazy. But that's what happened this year, and for some reason, the Terps just can't figure it out at home. They're 3-5 at home, and they're 9-0 away. It's like, it almost doesn't make sense looking at those numbers right now. Like it doesn't even make any sense. But to go to the Rutgers game, Maryland had beat them early in the season by 5 goals, 13-8. And I'd mentioned all year long that when Maryland had let up less than 10 goals, they had won. And this was the first game where they let up less than 10 goals, and they lost. So it has to do a lot with the offensive production not being there. But also, Emily Sterling went out pretty early in the game with an injury. Julia Hammerschlag came in for 8 or 9 minutes, let up a goal. I don't think it was that big of a point in the game, only because she only let up 1 goal. But having your starting goalie leave early in the game, it just kind of sends nerves through your entire team. And you can kind of see they're playing that way. They're playing the game not to lose instead of to win. And you could absolutely see that on the offense. So tough loss. It means they're not going to host a game in the NCAA tournament. I'd be shocked if they do. It's extremely, extremely unlikely. First time not making the Big Ten tournament final since 2015. It's going to be hard to say. We're not going to have another episode probably before the end of the year. At least that's what we're assuming at this point in time. So, we're not going to get to recap the finals. But if I had to give my prediction, I would say this team makes the Final 4. Bold prediction.
Wow.
Very bold prediction. But that's what I'm going to say. I think they're going to get it figured out. But
you think they're getting a good draw, or you just think that
I just think because they lost so early in this game, they're going to be fired up more time to prepare. That would be at least my take on that. Maybe that's really big oversight just because I've been watching way too much of this team this year and haven't watched enough of the other teams. But
yeah, there's some good teams, but other than Northwestern, I don't know if there's like that elite team, right? Like, or that kind of, I feel like it's in that next middle class. Like Michigan's right up there, but we saw Maryland almost beat Michigan on the road. So I don't think that's a crazy take. Potentially we could get an update in Africa, maybe an update episode just to kind of balance things out. But yeah, I would say I think this team's going to compete for that Final 4. I don't know if I'd go as far as Brendan. I think they might drop in the Elite 8 too. Kind of staying on the men's theme. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic, but that's what I would take a guess at. And they will wait to see their draw for the NCAA tournament. A team that's trying to make a push for NCAA tournament, last gasp, it seems like. The Maryland baseball team, the Dirty Terps, huge series win. We talked last weekend. They got dropped to Northwestern or Nebraska, picked up a big midweek against James Madison. Now they got a series win against the best team in the Big Ten, at least standings wise. Mike, you were at almost, I assume, all the games. What was the big takeaways from an offensive filled weekend?
Yeah, it was a really good bounce back week for the Terps, coming up with that top 25 RPI win over JMU, and then the win over Illinois, who they entered that series number 1 in the Big Ten, but then took them down 2-1 in the series. Looked like it was going to be a disappointing weekend to start, though. It had a kind of disappointing offensive game again, only scored 4 runs on Friday, but offense came back Saturday, had 9 runs Saturday, then compiled 11 on Sunday, and I think you're kind of seeing this offense wake up again. One guy I kind of really want to hone in on is Sam Honar. Honar has been on a tear recently. He's batting .352 since the start of conference play, which is March 22nd, and he has 11 home runs in that span. He has 5 within the past 5 days of this recording. He hit 2 Sunday against Illinois, hit 2 again today against Towson, hit 1 Friday in the loss against Illinois. And right now he has a .302 batting average. He's one of 3 guys now hitting over 300 for Maryland, and that's the best mark for him during his 5-year collegiate career. So kind of see this offense getting revived with some bigger contributions from guys who had some expectations heading into the season.
Yeah, I think that, first of all, guys, Sam Honar, he hits homers and he sings. Oh my gosh, what a revelation. But yeah, Honar has been really good. They had a big win against Towson today, another bomb from him. They seem to really, Mike, they play Towson in like just 90 times. Towson, Georgetown. How many times have they played those teams this year?
They played Towson once. Today was the only time.
Yeah. Okay, well.
And UMBC. I know it's all the local schools.
Oh, UMBC. Damn.
I see what you're saying. Mount St. Mary's, it's all the local schools.
They played Georgetown 3 times, UMBC twice.
That was awesome.
Twice, JMU twice, but Towson only once.
What about USC Upstate, Mike? What do you know about them?
They're not too good in RPI. Looking at it right now, I don't even. Let's see.
Just for those who don't know, that's Maryland's opponent on the May 8th, next Wednesday. So I think that was such a completely random team for them to play, no?
Upstate.
Mike's currently peering at RPI ratings.
They're 86th in RPI right now.
That's actually not that bad.
So it's a decent opponent for a midweek next week. That was also a late addition to the schedule too, so I can only assume Swope is adding one more game, kind of more of a resume booster for that postseason play.
What is it going to take? Like, what is the postseason road? Is it win the Big Ten tournament at this point? And what would that have to? What's the road going to look like? Are they going to have to go through Indiana, Nebraska, or Illinois?
Yeah, it's going to have to come down to the Big Ten tournament. Maryland right now is second in the Big Ten in RPI, but they're currently on the bottom of the playoff picture right now. They have an 8-10 conference record. So even though that RPI is high, if the committee's looking at their resume and they have a losing conference record, didn't do well in the conference tournament, then it's going to be tough to get in. They have some games coming up that will serve as resume boosters. They got Rutgers on the road this weekend. That's going to be a quad 1 opponent. Then they got Boston College next week, and that's going to be labeled as another quad 1 opponent. So those are 2 big series for the Terps. Next weekend is only a 2-game series against the Eagles, so you got to look to break even there. There is no going down 0-2, getting 1 win and calling it a 500 week. They have to break even there or win the series flat out. So they have 2 big important weeks coming up, including USC Upstate. And it kind of comes down to their season now.
Just looking at it, a little more research on USC Upstate. Not sure why I'm so focused on this, but they did beat Clemson early in April. Clemson's 4th in RPI right now, so they clearly can win big games. They also have losses against Clemson earlier this year, but they clearly can win some games.
Yeah, I think it's going to take that Big Ten tournament, like Mike said. Obviously, it's kind of a weird flip of last year, right? Where their RPI was good, but there's no way that the committee's going to barely take 2 Big Ten teams last year, or 3, I think, and then they're going to take a team who has a below 500 record. Like, they clearly don't respect the conference in terms of the other ones. So there's no way that they're going to take a sub 500 Maryland team, no matter how good their RPI is, in my opinion.
Yeah, Maryland won the Big Ten regular season, won the tournament title, won every single series in the conference, and still was placed against the number one team in the country in Wake Forest in the regional, which Matt Swope still talks about. He says that was an absurd seeding. Like, that was a disgrace by the committee.
But
I do want to correct myself real quick. Boston College is 65th in RPI, so that narrowly misses out on a quad 1 opponent. That will be a high quad 2 game.
Can the RPI go up, though?
Yeah, it can go up between now and next weekend.
Gotcha. So the baseball team, we're going to have to just kind of, I think, wait till the Big Ten tournament to see. It seems like they definitely have, I think, out of the middling Big Ten teams, they're up there for a team that could make a run, though, right, Mike? Just because of how good the offense is. Obviously, the pitching isn't great, but in a weekend where everybody's pitching is kind of like stretched out, right? Because like you're playing so many games in so many days, the offense is going to give them a chance, I would guess.
I definitely think that the offense can give them a chance on their best day. The pitching can give them a chance on their best day. And also, they got some guys in the bullpen where you're playing 5 games. They have guys who can start those 5 games. And years before, you have some guys in relief, some freshmen who don't have a lot of experience starting these regional games. They have Kenny Lippman in the bullpen now. They have Ryan Van Buren starting on midweek games. These are guys who they can start a regional game and they can go in feeling confident about the guy they have on the mound.
Definitely. We move past baseball onto the other diamond sport, which is even more discouraging, softball. It's another broken record, guys.
I mean, you made a celebrity appearance at the Maryland Softball Stadium, didn't you?
Celebrity. It was a harkening back to my days last year during the spring when I would sit there. It was actually raining on Saturday, but they won on a walk-off. Michaela Jones hit 2 home runs, a walk-off win against Penn State. So then you're thinking, at least I covered Sunday as well, going into it like, hey, they might finally get a Big Ten series win. Courtney Weish on the mound. It's senior day. It's 80 degrees out, nice and sunny. Purdue is kind of like that type of thing. Nope, they lost. They just can't seem to get it together. The lineup is, I mean, Lauren Karn said it, right? Like the top half of their lineup is producing, but the bottom half has just become automatic outs, and that's just not gonna do it. I don't know. A lot of this team's best players is graduating too, guys. So like, ew.
You have to remember, though, we talked about her with Karn, obviously, when she came on the podcast, that she was a really late addition in terms of portal additions, right? She was very late for her roster construction. So you have to have a little optimism there if you're a fan. I was like, this isn't really, and I talk about this all the time, and it's less relevant with the transfer portal now, but this really isn't her roster. And so that has to give you a little bit of kind of hope and for the future.
Yeah, but like, Brendan, how many portal additions can you make in softball? Especially in Maryland.
You could probably make as many as you'd like.
Yeah, but Maryland softball, like, you're not going to get high-level impact. Maryland softball has been a nothing, like, its entire program history. Like, there has to be some sort of building block. Sammy Woods has had a terrible year. Megan McCamey, Courtney Weish, Michaela Jones, those are they're all graduating. There's just a couple of pieces, and it's like, I don't know, man. They got to find a way to get something going.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with the general overall idea that Maryland softball isn't going to pull in incredible recruits. But hey, I mean, these aren't even Karn's necessarily her players, right? And coaches are going to look for certain types of things, and even if they're not incredible now, they're going to be able to build them. So I give her the benefit of the doubt, even in that sense. We'll probably come back to softball when we recap the entire year of sports and kind of how they played versus their expectations. But for now, we talked about it with Selton. It's ways away, but let's talk a little basketball. I guess we'll start with women. They've definitely had the most action in the past week. Sam, break down what happened.
Yeah, Brenda Fries. It's been kind of a weird week. Brendan Fries brought in Amari DeBerry, was the first player. That one's kind of been in the known for a while. I'd say I've known about that for a decent amount of time that was coming. I think a lot of people did. That's not breaking any news, but she's okay. I'll just say that. Like, very talented prospect, was a 5-star out of high school, went to UConn. I mean, anytime you can get a UConn transfer, that's generally pretty good, but she didn't play much. I think Brenda probably looks at her as like a depth forward, like a piece. And if she can like realize the potential that she had in high school, then it's a wow, like that's a home run addition. But more than likely, she'll probably be like a backup forward, I would guess. So that was one pickup. Mike, kind of an interesting situation there with my Torre. Do you want to explain to the listeners what happened?
Yeah, so apparently she was scared off by the other commitments that Maryland had, to put it bluntly. Obviously Maryland's dipped into the portal a lot this offseason. Might have been a couple commitments that she didn't expect there to be, was worried about playing time coming to Maryland and decided to go to Utah instead. Kind of surprising because she publicly announced her commitment to Maryland before reversing on that. But
yeah,
that's the case. I
Until
don't think
Penn
it'll
gets
too much though.
They just picked, and the reason for that is they just picked up a Villanova transfer as we're recording today. Christina Dulce kind of does a lot of the things that Torre does. I don't think she's as good of a scorer as Maya, but she's a really, really good rebounder. Grabbed almost 10 a game, and it's weird, guys. It's like a 50-50 split. She grabs almost 5 offensive rebounds a game, which is a big thing. Maryland is not really an offensive rebounding team, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how Brenda uses her. I think that early take on a starting lineup, and let me know what you guys think. I think Sarah Tabiasu, Shai Sellers, Bree McDaniel, Sailor Poffenbarger, and Ali Kubek. I think that lineup makes a lot of sense. I think Schmeichel could easily start as well, so insert her to play starter minutes, kind of. And I think that's a lineup that could be in the top tier of the Big Ten for sure.
The good thing is that they have a lot of options. As the season winded down last year, with all the injuries especially, it was clear Freese didn't have many options on the bench, let alone the starting lineup. So obviously Maryland's coach building up the depth, and it looks like they'll have, hopefully to the coach's pleasure, a way better season next year with that depth.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Brenda Freese and Karen Blair sleep at all, but it seems like every day there's a new transfer coming in.
Trust me, man. I'm trying to write these blogs and pumping them out.
I'm not sure if Sam Jane sleeps, honestly. He's the real guy. He's the real guy I'm worried about, honestly.
She clearly had an emphasis on the front court, guys. She was like, enough of this bullshit of not being able to handle post players. We're going to go get some front court players. And they did that, and I think that's a really good sign for Brenda and kind of the future of Maryland basketball.
Yeah, I agree. And talking about the future, I want to talk freshmen for a second. You gave the starting lineup prediction. Give us the ranking of how many minutes you think the freshmen play. Who plays the most? Who plays the least?
Yeah, let's throw in men's hoops into this as well. This would be kind of a good little combo. I'm gonna say Derek Queen plays the most out of any of them. Then Brianna Jones. So the two bigs I think are gonna play the most. Kendall Walker. I'm gonna go, and then at 3, and then I'm gonna say Ava McKinney and Malachi Palmer play kind of around the same, like bench role, that type of thing. That'd be my guess.
I like you throwing the men in there. I think it's really hard to know just how much Palmer is going to play. I think you can get minutes, but it's also possible that he just really doesn't play at all. I mean, it's possible he's in a Lamoth role.
Yeah, he plays a spot they need, but I exactly thought, like, Lamoth, I thought maybe, like, he could maybe get a couple minutes, and then he never, like, saw the floor, really.
I'm not sure if any women's basketball freshman is going to get that much time this season. Freese's reluctance to play freshmen has kind of been exaggerated a little bit in the past, but especially with all the veteran players that they've brought in this offseason, I don't see how many of them are going to get playing time early on in the season. Probably will grow as the season goes on, but early on, I can see a very heavy veteran-led lineup.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with Mike, but I do think Brianna Jones, if she's from Montana, so that's kind of the one question of, like, does the competition translate? But she was really, really good in high school. So I think she could be the one that could, and they kind of need that, like, forward. Ali Kubek has had injury problems, but I agree with Mike. The depth they've brought in suggests that they're not going to trust the freshmen to go out and play 20, 25 minutes, which on one hand is like, but on the other, like, it's really understandable in today's college basketball. So
the question is, do those freshmen transfer after they don't play?
Exactly.
Maybe.
The question.
We'll see.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know how many years it's going to take for Brenda Freese to either play freshmen before they leave there after one season or just not recruit them at all.
She's just like, I'm done. No more freshmen. I mean, Bree McDaniel's been really good, so we got to give props to that. And that's enough talk about a sport that's like 7 months away. We can move on to sport. Brendan, I don't know about you. I'm dying to get back on the golf course. Like that's the maybe like top 3 thing I'm most excited for.
I'm not sure if the Maryland men's team is though.
Take us through what happened with the Terps.
Not too much to break down here. Maryland finished last in the Big Ten, as I'd humbly predicted. They finished 96 strokes over. The next closest was 73 over, and Northwestern absolutely dominated. They won by 15 strokes. So, pretty much what you could have expected going in, that Maryland was not going to make much noise. And, it'll be a long time before we're doing any golf coverage. And, it was definitely a long season for them. And, we'll have to see what happens and see if Northwestern can really make a run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, the golf team was not up to expectations, but that's going to be our game. We're bringing it back. We haven't had a game in so long. I'm actually so excited. Got a couple of categories, but the first big conversation, this is going to be our end of the year recap of Maryland athletics. I'm going to start. Mike looks so enthusiastic, so I'm going to start with him just to get him fired up. The first question we're going to talk about is what Maryland athletic team had the best season relative to expectations?
I'm going to have to say the field hockey team. They've been the farthest than any other team. They made it to the Elite Eight, albeit that's the second round in the field hockey tournament. Still made it the farthest, and they also hosted the NCAA tournament in College Park.
Be Wizzy?
This is a really hard one to say. It's definitely not. I know a lot of teams that it's definitely not. When you think of all the teams that it's definitely not, I think that has to leave me with women's lacrosse. We talked about it. They had a really, really, really bad loss this past weekend in the Big Ten tournament. But hey, they were ranked the number 1 team in the country. And if that's not enough evidence, I don't know what is.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a good answer for both of you. I would, oh man. Oh, this is such a tough answer. I would say probably field hockey, just to side with Mike. I think they've had a pretty solid year. But guys, it's been a barren scene here in CP for sports. So that's gonna be now we're gonna do the flip side. Most disappointing squad. I'll start with this one. We'll do a little snake draft in honor of our snake draft that I'm excited to get back to next year. Gonna start with the most disappointing squad. And I'm going to say the men's basketball team. I'm going to take the obvious one. I think that everyone kind of thought that they would take a leap in year 2 with under K. Will and Jameer, but it never really the plane never really took off, to even say. I think it kind of just stayed shuttered, like the wing broke at some point during the flight. So, yeah, that'd be my answer.
I'm going to say the football team. And if you look at the schedule, they have games against Illinois, Northwestern. They win those 2. They have a 10-win season, something that the team hasn't had in decades. Then you also take into account, games against Michigan and Ohio State. Both games, the team kind of stayed within it, but they failed to pick up that quality win that Talia and the coaching staff were all talking about at Media Day, how they felt that they could compete at the top of the Big Ten. And, I don't know if they're going to be able to pick up that type of win next season with whoever's starting at quarterback. So I feel like it was that type of year for them to kind of take advantage of that, and they failed to do it.
You guys are with some pretty obvious and big sport ones, and I know we've talked about this team a lot, but I got to go with the women's soccer team. I have to. Finished 3-10-5, 0-9-1 in conference, and I don't know. Some of those games just in terms
I think men's soccer should get. They had it.
I guess in terms of expectations, it would be men's soccer because no one thought the women's soccer team was going to do anything crazy, but at some point, it's like, how is this the offensive production that the University of Maryland is producing? Men's soccer, to talk about soccer, I mean, a team ranked first in the Big Ten I don't know, I'm pretty sure they had no Big Ten wins. I'm going to stat myself on that, but if I do remember correctly, neither soccer team had a Big Ten win. And
yeah, I 100% think so. And I think it's kind of sad, guys, that we've gotten to the point where there's probably one Maryland team that performed better than expectations in the preseason. Probably 1, maybe 2. That's a tough year in College Park. And I do want to point out, I don't wish a relationship as toxic as any relationship akin to Michael Howe's and the Maryland football team's expectations, because this man flip-flops so much on what he thinks the football team should do. Middle of the year, Mike, weren't you saying 8 wins? Everyone should, you should be pleased if you're a Maryland fan. And now I side with you more. I think it was a disappointing year. They blew 2 games they could have easily won. Yeah. So it's awesome.
The more I look at next year, the more I'm disappointed on the past year. Like, it could have been that year for them, but
I do think that I agree. I think last year, especially with Leah, that was the year, and now you're going to have a transition year. We could talk about that.
I don't know. If you have 4 quarterbacks, then you should be set, right?
Brendan, I don't know. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Does that extend to 4?
Yeah, so that's definitely a saying with 2, but you have 4, Sam. I mean, come on, you got 1 for each quarter. How could they ever get tired?
I also didn't mention the pummeling at Penn State that also happened.
Yeah.
It was not at Penn State.
It was not at Penn, but it felt like that. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, next game. I'm gonna have both of you. I'm gonna split the bill. One of you is gonna feel the pain, and one of you is gonna feel the joy. Best moment of the sports season, and then the most disappointing moment. Brendan, we'll give you the best moment. Take it away.
Wow, I was kind of hoping that you were going to give me the worst moment. I definitely have a lot of answers for worst moment. Best moment? I guess the best moment was the Maryland men's basketball win over Illinois. That was the best game that they played all season. It gave people a lot of hope that their offense looked coherent and that they could do something. And then after that, they went on a little run. They were competitive in some games. That was probably the best moment for them. I got to think of other really good moments, though. It's just
the Big Ten tournament win for Maryland over Ohio State for women's. That was a pretty big win
for women's basketball. Yeah, that's another huge one. That's probably the best moment of the year. I
think.
Those are the 2.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some of the hires, like the baseball team was Swope, but I mean,
softball team had a ranked win against Oregon, correct?
Yeah. 2nd year in a row. What a random stat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think about the number of ranked wins the university had this year.
Next to no. Field hockey had a good stretch.
I mean, lacrosse has had a lot.
Maybe lacrosse being number 1 in the country, that was pretty cool. That might be up there.
While we're doing all this, we'll let Mike go in a second, I guess. But we do forget that, just in terms of the critical eye, the expectations for Maryland lacrosse are to win a national championship every year. And so, both these teams are top 15 teams in the country right now. That's overall extremely successful.
Yeah.
But for Maryland expectations,
it's not. It's not. Yeah.
Okay, Mike, we just kind of gave you some help.
I was going to say, in a season of disappointing moments for the men's basketball team, Jameer Young was the one shining star, and I think that 37-point game against UCLA.
That's a good one. Good man. Look at him coming in from the opposite alley to bring in a good one. Good job, Mike.
But then to be all negative, Maryland baseball series lost to Northwestern. Northwestern is terrible. Those 2 wins over Maryland are Northwestern's only wins in the Big Ten this year.
I think Maryland football lost to Illinois at home. A game-winning field goal. Was that homecoming? Or no, what was it, Brendan? It was the stat you had or something, and that was just... And then, Ohio State, people got really high, in a game. I think that was really disappointing, because they were up, 14-0 or something, and the excitement was off the roof, because they were 4-0 or 5-0 at the time. That was a pretty disappointing loss. I think men's soccer, just losing every game, that's pretty awful, too. So, yeah, there's an endless list to pick from. I don't know how Mike did it.
I would say the one game of the year I'm not really sure how to rank, and this game I will never know how to rank, I'll never know how to look at it, is the Michigan football game. When we took a step back, that was one of the closest games Michigan has played all year.
It was the closest.
National champion.
Other than
Maryland,
other than Bama.
Yeah, Maryland played them extremely close. Maryland had a chance to go down and win that game. Is that an extremely successful moment? Is it not? It's so hard to know.
I don't think we can say a non-win. Just me personally.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. They were there, but they've been there before. Ohio State the year before. Can we call that a great? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine what that does for the program at Maryland?
Would have been huge.
That changes the entire outcome of the NCAA football season. Michigan just probably doesn't make the national championship.
You rush the field, it would have had half the field filled with Michigan fans. It would have been great. So, yeah. And then one more category for us. We're gonna go with athlete of the year. So who do we think has been the most impressive athlete? And then I'm going to ask Brendan, to give me the best or funniest under the shell moment of the year. And I want everyone to say that, actually. Let's make a quick amendment. So athlete of the year, real quick, we can fire through this. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say my athlete of the year. It's tough. You kind of go back and forth. I'm going to give it to Jameer Young. I think Jameer had the best season individually. Maybe I'm being like big sport, revenue-y type guy, but I just think Jameer was so good. And I feel like you have to give it to a senior in a way.
No one knows what to say. I genuinely have no idea if it's not Jameer Young, who it is. I don't know. Mike, you got anything?
Yeah, I was going to say Jameer Young.
I mean, guys, we could say Jameer Young. It's okay.
Yeah.
Under
the show player of the year consensus.
Yeah, consensus.
Right.
Put it on. Shout out Jordan Geronimo. That's my player of the year, baby.
But think about it, really. If he's not on that men's basketball team, oh my God, they're unwatchable.
Yeah,
they were unwatchable with him. I mean,
yeah. Hope Rose deserves some love too. Hope Rose deserves some love for the field hockey team. I think she had a really good year, so I would say maybe she'd be. And Alyssa Klobosco was really good too. But yeah, that'll be kind of a quick wrap up because it has to be Jameer. Okay. Under the shell part, my favorite time of the year. This is a long episode, but it's fun, so let's just do it. Screw it. Let me get the guest of the year, your guys' favorite guest. So, Mike, you want to start us off? Who's your favorite guest this year?
Going way back to the fall, I'm going to go D. Gray. Had a little bit of internet beef with him there right before we interviewed him, but on good terms with Mr. Gray now.
Shout out D.
Had a great interview with Derwin.
He'll always be our group chat name too. That's awesome.
That's funny. I know. As soon as Sam said like, "What's the funniest moment of the year?" I was immediately going to say the D. Gray. We'll circle back to that though. I'm sure we had a lot of extremely good episodes. I think in terms of like guest Mount Rushmore, Anthony Cowan has got to be on there. I mean, the poll is awesome. We got to learn a lot of things about his life that I don't think a lot of people know. He's not someone that's really been in the media spotlight since he left college basketball. That interview was awesome. And if I'm allowed to add a second one, I will say the man who is now the intro and outro of this podcast, Johnny Holiday. That was a super
Johnny
cool.
Holiday. Yeah. Johnny Holiday was so good. I mean, we'll allow our producer of the show to have a second favorite guest interview. Only for him, though. You guys said three of my favorites. I loved all of those interviews. I think we really caught stride this year with some of the interviews we had. Every guest was awesome. There's so many hard ones to pick, right? I mean, like, in terms of notoriety, like Ralph Friedgen was a great guest, like, and it was cool to hear like stories from him. Anthony Cowan, you talked about. Cam Edge was great. Bree McDaniel, like a ton of really, really cool. Walt the Wizard Williams and his vodka brand, like all just great guests, But I think my personal favorite guest this year, just like the guy I had the most fun talking to, would be Len Elmore. I thought Len Elmore was one of the smartest people I've ever gotten to be on a phone call with, and just his vast experience was really, really cool to get to know. So I'd say Len Elmore for mine. And last segment, best/funniest moment of the year. This can be from an interview. This can be from a show part. Like, what would you guys say your favorite or funniest moment of the year would be?
I like the Jay Sean Jones interview when we were now kidding. No, that joke there is that we had to wait a while, but he was super nice about it in the end. I have two.
Shout out Jay Sean too. He was a great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yes,
too.
Those interviews were also like very, very good. I thought. For funniest moments, the D. Gray one obviously sticks out. I mean, that was hilarious. Just the fact that all that happened and like it had the same name and he had no idea. I haven't seen him put out any episodes. Maybe I should be keeping a closer eye, but it's possible he hasn't been doing any. And then other funniest moment, honestly, sorry to use recency bias, which I'm definitely doing, but the Selton Miguel story about like the finishing the homework, I thought is hilarious, and that was a great find by you, Sam. That was a very good moment.
That was a lot of fun. That interview was pretty good too. I'm excited for everyone to, or they have listened to this interview if they're still listening now. I'll say I got two funny moments. Number one, I think one of my funniest moments was the Walt vodka plug at the end. That was hilarious. I kind of teased at it.
That didn't make it into the episode. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, it didn't, but it like, whatever.
It's still hilarious.
Walt Williams basically plugged his vodka for us, which was really fun.
I respect it.
I think an underrated one, trivia with Emmett and Andrew when they both were horrible.
Oh my god, those guys were awful. We didn't mention their episode. I don't know. Hopefully they don't get mad at us.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then just like random like times I think some of the draft or some of the college football picks are really fun. We still got to get that night out to pay me off. But I think that just talking with you guys every week, now I'm going to get all sentimental. I looked forward to Tuesday nights because it gave me a chance to bullshit with my friends about Maryland sports. And that's what I like about this podcast. We take it serious. It's a good product. But at the end of the day, I'm talking with two of my friends about the school that I go to, and we get to cover that. And that's really cool. So, yeah.
You're making me tear up, Sam.
I'm trying. I know Raj is back there stressing about this Sixers game, so I gotta, you know what I mean?
Oh man, for favorite moment, having Johnny Holiday record our intro is pretty cool. That was pretty damn cool.
That was so
the
sick.
Maryland Sports does that for us.
That was great.
That was such a
Andy
good
mentioned
late idea.
us during the Michigan State game.
He did.
too.
He shouted us out.
That was really sick. Yeah,
and then
great
we
job.
went to Talking Terps with Omar.
Yeah, we did go watch him. Yeah, we watched him do his thing.
Me and Mike got some crab, or me and Brett, I can't remember. We got crab dip.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty sweet.
That was great.
Mike
Great
used
time.
to work there. He hooked us up. It was awesome. That was during the period of time. I don't know if anybody else that's listening knows this, but it's, we obviously don't do that much video, but Mike was, pretty much out.
Down for the count.
Like half of the year. He either had his arm broken or he couldn't really walk. But he still made it to every single episode. This is the first year ever in the history of this podcast that every member of the podcast made it to every episode. Remarkable, guys.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
Shout out us. I will say, too, underrated moment, the food plate with Colleen Carrion.
Oh, that was a great idea.
Awesome draft. Getting to see Michael House's food plate and Brendan's food plate was incredible. So that was a really fun season. It was an awesome year, awesome season, and we still got 2 more to go. So can't wait
maybe
for
3,
that.
maybe 4. I mean, yeah, we actually, our episodes we worked the hardest on probably haven't even come out yet. So
my favorite moment might be yet to come.
Don't click away from this podcast page. Don't unfavorite it yet. We still have some content coming your way, and we have 2 more years of content coming your way. And with that in mind, you were talking about getting to chat here. It's also been awesome to watch the two of you just grow as journalists in the past year and the teams that you cover and the opportunities. So I'll clap it up for y'all. You guys are doing some incredible things outside of the podcast.
We're just doing I love this sentimental time. I mean, our producer, there's nobody who does it better, right? So, I mean, Mike, this guy, there's nobody better to be able to cancel out me and your screw ups. Like Brendan's the best at what he does. And,
as Johnny said, apparently the best in America.
Best in America. Best student. Shout out the Flyers. That's another great best student run podcast in Maryland.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That was epic.
The Fox Big Noon kickoff. That was an awesome moment for Maryland sports this year.
That was an awesome moment for Under the Shell. We had about 6 guys at the Big Noon kickoff.
Got some TV time.
Yes, that was great. Shout out Eddie. He's doing this as he listens. Anyway, we've gone way off the beaten trail. Let's get back to the thing that ties this episode all together. But this one, I read the little bit. I got a sneak peek. I'm stunned, so I'm very interested to hear the story. Brendan, take it away with Terrific Terp.
Let's do it one last time this season. This week's Terrific Terp is someone you would never guess was the head coach at the University of Maryland. This man was head coach and athletic director at the University of Alabama for over 20 years. Bear Bryant won 6 national championships, and when he retired in 1982, he had the most wins of any head football coach in history. So what does Paul William Bryant have to do with the University of Maryland, you could be asking yourself? Well, Bryant was actually the head coach of Maryland exclusively during the 1945 season. He came to Maryland after being head coach at a Navy pre-flight school in North Carolina. Because World War II was ending, the team would no longer exist next year, so Bryant needed to find a new job. He had the option to go to Alabama or Georgia Tech as an assistant or go to Maryland as a head coach. He let his current players vote on that decision, and they chose for him to come to College Park. He signed a 3-year, $9,000 deal. 15 players followed him from the pre-flight school to Maryland, and at that time, Bryant was very hard on his players with rules and physical demands, which would later lead to his departure from Maryland. But at the beginning of the 1945 season, the harsh rule paid off. Bryant got the first of his 323 career wins against Guilford, 60-6, team won the next two and appeared to be on their way to a New Year's Six bowl. The next week, the luck ran out for Maryland and lost a game that Bryant said he overlooked to Virginia Tech. The team finished the season 6-2-1, which was a pretty successful first season for Bryant and a bright future ahead. In fact, the team had 9 starters ready to play the next season. Near the end of the 1945 season, Bryant suspended a player for breaking curfew. University president and previous head football coach Curly Bird disagreed with the decision, so Bryant was off to Kentucky for $12,000 a year. The news of Bryant leaving started a strike across campus. 2,500 students gathered and waited for Bryant to speak, and he insisted he was leaving Maryland on his own will. Players were mad too. In fact, some were crying when they were told the news of Bryant's departure. Clark Shaughnessy, who previously coached in 1942, returned for the following season in 1946. Overall, Bear Bryant has a clouded history because of the pushback to recruit players of color, and it's likely that Maryland would not want that attached to their name, but it is crazy to think about what football could be like if he'd coached at Maryland for longer.
It's crazy to think that probably one of the greatest college football coaches was here. I had no idea. So that's an awesome, terrific Terp to cap out the year. Great job, Brendan.
I was saving it ahead in the back pocket. You know,
I got to keep one of those.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I mean?
for the end of the year special. Yeah. Mike, did you have any idea he coached here? I mean, come on, that's crazy.
Total surprise, but terrific Terp taught me.
I do what I
Never
can.
can
I
go
do what I
wrong.
can.
Well, that was another great episode. We got 2 or 3 more coming. We'll see. But some of our best work, I think, one really, really cool setting and then one really, really cool episode. But they kind of do both. So you should definitely give both of those a listen. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, listen to our episode at Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We're going to keep churning out content for you. Continue to listen, continue to watch. We really appreciate you guys who all listen. And yeah, for anybody who made it, hit me up on Twitter and I'll get you a $5 coupon to your favorite restaurant. We'll see if anybody's listening. But yeah, for Under the Shell gents, enjoy the rest of your week. Yeah, go sports.
Guess what? You've got Under the Shell podcast. Nobody does it better.